The opportunity. I want to recognize a couple folks real quick. I think Blaze and Brad have done a great job with the last 2 days. So got really strong leadership in the Rpof, and I want to thank all of you. You guys are on the front lines. I've said this to the State Committeemen's Caucus and to the Chair Caucus as well. You guys are the heart and soul of the Republican Party in Florida, and I appreciate everything you guys do every single day. I'm new to politics, and like the governor, shoestring budget, kind of bootstrapping it, if you will. We don't even have bumper stickers. We have not done a poll, but with this group, I want to start with a poll. So, and I think the results are gonna be interesting to you, and it's free for all of us. So, so bear with me and please participate. So let me start off just by raise of hands. If you are from the northwest part of Florida, raise your hand. If you're from the northeast in Jacksonville. About Central Florida. I-4 corridor, Clearwater to Daytona. Naples, Southwest. You guys sat together. How about Miami and South Florida? Can't forget the Keys. A bit strange down there, but. All right. So we're from all over Florida, obviously, and we're a big group here. If you're African American, raise your hand. We need more. We need more in this room. If you're Hispanic, raise your hand. Asian, my beautiful wife. Anglo-Saxon. We've got a diverse group. We really do. If you've been divorced, raise your hand. You've been divorced twice, raise your hand. If you're a business owner, raise your hand. Congratulations. If you're a veteran, raise your hand. All right, last question. If you're an American, raise your hand. That's the one thing we all have in common. We are, despite public opinion, a very diverse group in the Republican Party. The one thing we have in common is we are all Americans. And I think we all agree that we're on the wrong path as Americans. I'm going to have to use my glasses because I don't know if you've noticed I'm the oldest guy in the race. This is America. We are Americans, and in America, nothing's impossible. We face some very serious challenges at home and abroad. And these challenges are going to affect Florida more so than a lot of the other states in the Union. We are the third largest state in the United States of America right now. We have three big challenges that we need to face as a nation. And I think this race is important, and even in the primary contest, you're not going to see a lot of light between myself and Congressman DeSantis, Jolly, and Lieutenant Governor. We agree on probably 95% of the issues. The difference, the choice you have, is where we come from. What is the level of experience, and who can win the general election? Who can differentiate themselves against Patrick Murphy, who will be the nominee? I don't think any of us think Grayson's going to make it, hopefully. So what are the three big challenges that will define this election? It's national security, economic growth, and personal freedom. Those are the three things that are going to define this election more so than any other in recent history. It's clear from this administration that he said early on he was fundamentally going to change America, and he has done that. Obama, Hillary, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders are out to fundamentally destroy America. I believe that in my heart. They couldn't have done this without deliberately trying to degrade our capacity and our capability on the world stage. We face growing threats overseas and a defenseless border here in the United States. ISIS, Iran, Russia, China, all are serious threats to our national security. And at each turn, Obama is playing checkers and our opponents are playing chess. It's time for a change, and the change is going to come with the next U.S. Senator. The next U.S. Senator has to have real national security experience. Defense spending cuts are going to be a huge issue, and they're going to impact Florida's economy more so than any other national security issue. I have real-world experience in the national security realm. I sit on the board of Rand Corporation's Center for Middle East Public Policy. I sit on the board of one of the war colleges. I've grown a very successful defense contracting company doing business with and supporting the Department of Defense. I've served in the military, in combat, and in the inner circles of the government. So the question is not what do we think about national security, it's who has the experience to actually function on the national security front, and I'm that candidate. On the economic growth, we all agree that the economic growth of this country has been dismal for the last 8 years. And that's mostly due to the hard left progressive fiscal and monetary policies. They've been a wet blanket on entrepreneurs, and I have created 600 jobs in the last 9 years, and I can tell you it's despite this administration and those policies, not because of it. Tax reform has got to be addressed, and everybody talks about it, and all the politicians on both sides of the aisle continue to talk about it, and nothing gets done. We've got to address tax reform. We've got to address our education system. Common Core is a broken system, and we all know it. We have to find politicians with the intestinal fortitude that can put some oversight on the EPA and the IRS and stand up and lead. We have to cut the size of government. Not just the growth rate of government, but cut the size of government. The next U.S. Senator has got to have real-world experience on the economic front. I've built businesses, I've put people to work, I've made payroll, and I've paid taxes. Trump is right to some extent. Our leaders should be successful. And if they can't manage their own finances and they can't build wealth in a capitalistic society, then why would we put them in charge of the policies that are going to inhibit us from doing the same thing? I don't get that. We have to reestablish America's strength on the economic front, and we can reestablish our prominence, if you will, as an industrialized nation. On personal freedom and liberty. This government, this over-intrusive executive branch is out of control through the DOJ, IRS, EPA, and the FBI. We need strong and forceful oversight by the Republican senator that's going to take this seat to keep this executive branch in check. The left progressive movement thinks that big government is the solution. I'm here to tell you big government's the problem. Thomas Jefferson said that government big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take everything you have. But we have to turn that around. We need a senator that's going to stand up for the Second Amendment. And of all the candidates here, I'm probably the only one that has a federal firearms license. I am a lifetime member of the NRA, and I believe strongly that we should all have the right to bear arms. Your next U.S. Senator has got to have the intestinal fortitude to stand up to his own party and to stand up to an over-intrusive executive branch. I have real, proven leadership, both in combat and in the boardroom, and I can bring that to the table as your next U.S. Senator. While I have grave concerns about where we're going as a nation, I have very unique skills to operate effectively and bring positive change in an asymmetric, hostile environment that I think overlap with U.S. Senate quite well. So the question is really not what do we think about the issues, it's where do we come from and who is the most effective candidate to win the general election? Who can differentiate themselves from a very moderate, well-funded, former Republican senator or congressman from Boca Raton? I think that's me. Why? I have real-world experience. I have real combat experience. I have lived, worked, and fought in Asia, the Middle East, and Africa, and been successful on all 4 fronts. I have led men in combat. I have faced our enemy and sent some of them to their maker. I have built businesses. I have built successful businesses, and for 6 years I raised 2 daughters as a single parent until I met the love of my life. I have gone from dirt poor beginnings to building significant wealth for me and the stakeholders in my company. I am not a politician, and you're going to hear from me what I believe, not what you think you want to hear. And I have to do that because my wife has told me that if she hears me say anything on the campaign trail that she knows is not true in my heart, she's going to hold me to account. And my wife, many of you have met her over the last 2 days, was a former CIA officer as well, and I have great respect and some fear of her capabilities. I want to echo what Carlos said and what the congressman said. I have a lot of respect for the other three candidates. This is not going to be, I think, a personal attack type campaign. I've met all three of you, and I have great respect for your service, what you've done thus far. And I'll make this pledge to you. I will not, for political purposes, exploit your youth or inexperience. Seriously though, when I started, I said this is America and nothing's impossible. I've lived my life based on a quote that impossible is a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Lewis and Clark refused to accept that it was impossible to map the frontier, and Manifest Destiny became our reality. Abraham Lincoln refused to accept that it was impossible to keep the Union together, and today we live in the United States of America. John F. Kennedy refused to accept that it was impossible to put a man on the moon and return him to the earth, and he did. Ronald Reagan refused to accept that we could beat the Soviet Empire, and we won the Cold War. We in the Special Forces and Intelligence community refused to accept that it was impossible to find and kill bin Laden, and we did. I refuse to accept that it's impossible to restore America's prominence, and that's why I'm running for this office. I want to close with a quote from Ronald Reagan. I do not believe in a fate that will fall upon us no matter what we do. I do believe in a fate that will fall upon us if we do nothing at all. God helping us, God blessing, I believe we will and we can restore America's prominence and overcome the problems that face us. After all, we should believe this. We are Americans. So join me in the fight. You can go to Todd Wilcox 2016. I look forward to meeting all of you, and I appreciate everything you guys do for the Republican Party. My name is Todd Wilcox. I am a constitutional conservative candidate, like the other three. And God bless you all. God bless America.